Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 00, a prologue episode of the Captain's Yacht. My name is @ScholarBeta, and I'm joined here by Captain Kanaka. Welcome to this deep dive into TNG. This is going to be an experimental podcast detailing Star Trek The Next Generation, a show that the Captain and I both love very dearly. We're going to go through episode by episode. Every episode in the first series first season to get this podcast rolling, and then we'll see what's out there, as Picard says. So let's get a little introduction going, Captain. Why don't you introduce yourself super briefly? Tell us, how you make your money, because we know this podcast ain't paying the bills right now. I'll do the same. So let's just briefly introduce ourselves, and then we'll talk about a little bit about why we love Trek, and specifically, I guess, TNG. So without further ado, Captain, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Love it. My name is Captain Kanaka. I am a high school teacher at a public school in Southeast Portland. I teach advanced placement U.S. history. In addition to that, I share Hawaiian culture with the community at my school. We have a Hawaiian club. We do a luau at the end of the year during the summertime. I'm a public historian. I research, design, and in some cases assist in building museum exhibits all across my home state. I put an exhibit in the Capitol building recently, a couple years back. History is my passion, and Star Trek intersects with that in a very interesting way, which I'll explain in a moment. But I'm a high school teacher, love science fiction. It's embedded in almost everything I do in the classroom. And I also package and sell materials on Teachers Pay Teachers under the handle Monokoa Enterprises. So that's my
awesome.
resume there. Thank you.
Yeah, very cool. Just really briefly about myself. Hey, it's @ScholarBeta here. You can find me on Twitter, though I haven't been tweeting in the last couple of years, but I'm gonna get that thing started again. I think I kind of remember social media. It can be kind of nice. But a little briefly about me. I also am a high school teacher. I'm teaching language arts, English, at a high school in Southeast Portland as well. Right now, I've got a pretty good gig. I can't complain at all. I'm teaching science fiction and then a variety of survey literature courses. But my passion is definitely science fiction. I was recruited to teach it as a student teacher, and I have not let go of the class ever since. Besides that, I'm an avid science fiction fan, film, short film, television, novels, and I'm sure we'll have some tangents talking about those at some point. But I don't know. I really want to talk about why we love Trek, so let's do that right now. Captain, why you love Star Trek? Can you keep this answer somewhat brief too? Try your best.
I'll try to.
We have limited server space.
I'll try my best.
So what do you think? Why you love Star Trek?
Trying it. So, I am on the autistic spectrum. I had a rather grim diagnosis when I was 4 years old. Which basically stated that I would be institutionalized by the time I was an adolescent. And my mom's favorite show was Star Trek The Next Generation. And I started doing better after mimicking the characters on the show, specifically Data and Picard. That set the foundation for giving me the vocabulary, both in terms of language and in terms of behavior, for functioning as highly as I do. I have tried to pitch this story to StarTrek.com on 6 different occasions. It has been turned down every single time. If there's interest about it, maybe we can have an episode about it. But that's why Star Trek is so special to me.
Nice. Wow, that's incredible. Like a real learning opportunity right there. For me, a little different. I really, to be perfectly honest, did not get into TNG, with a critical eye until I was in college. I watched Voyager growing up, and Deep Space Nine, but definitely Voyager was the show that was airing, while I was kind of getting into late middle school, early high school, and it's the one that caught my attention first, I would say, which is interesting because I haven't really gone back and looked at Voyager too much. But in college, I really got into TNG, specifically Picard. Picard is a great orator. He's a speech maker. The man can sway you with words, and I think as a writer, as someone who thought he was kind of good at debate in college and such, I really wanted to channel my inner Picard as much as humanly possible. So yeah, he's kind of a father figure and an academic figure all in one. And the fact that he happens to be the head of a TV show that's pretty freaking entertaining and there's 170 plus episodes of is also a great point. So honestly, through that character, and we're going to talk characters. There's so many awesome characters on this
Oh,
show.
yeah.
Picard, Worf, Data, all of those are, and Beverly, Troy, they all kept me coming back over and over and over again. So yeah, really the characters and what they represented and their skills. Hey, now that we have that background material out of the way, I want to talk a little bit about some of the other goals of this podcast. I'm mostly interested in making this because as a teacher, I want to model and develop a podcast that I can point to and say, hey, look, it's not that hard or it's not that bad to sit down and try to create a podcast. And I want to do this in the spirit of experiential learning. I don't want to have to sit behind a textbook and read everything there is to read about podcasts and then set out. I think what's important right now is for me to and Captain to explore the world of podcast making, to be humble, to record an episode, put it out there, move on, and try to learn, and to ignore the trolls as best we can, if any trolls take any interest in this. So this is really all in the spirit of learning, the spirit of experiential learning specifically, and there's going to be some bumps and hiccups along the way, but I hope you can enjoy the effort, and I hope you can enjoy some of the conversation about one of my favorite TV shows, if not one of the best TV shows of all time, Star Trek: The Next Generation. Something we learned in graduate school is that if we're asking students to do work, we should do it alongside them. And so this is that contribution. This is what I'm attempting with this podcast. I'm going to ask students to take a risk, to create something, to put it out there. And so here's me and the captain modeling that process. I hope you can appreciate that. So without further ado, I think it's time to move on and start talking episodes.